Lately, I've been seeing more and more of these story channels use AI voices, and I don't know if it's just me, but they've been getting kind of repetitive and really annoying. So I decided that I would start reading them myself. Sure, I may stumble over my words every now and then, but that's kind of the point. It's just me genuinely being there with you guys and reacting to these stories like how any person would. It is currently 3 a.m. for me, so it's the perfect time to read one of these. Also, I upload every day at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, so if you need something to fall asleep to or just have in the background while you work, you know exactly where to find me. That being said, our first scary story is from r/no sleep, posted by the user MoSmith50, and is titled, I work at the Unclaimed Baggage Center in Alabama. I know what really happened to Flight 702. Do you know how many pieces of luggage are checked into flights each year? I'm talking in the whole world. It's 4 billion. I'll say that again. 4 billion. And of those 4 billion, do you know how many pieces of luggage are lost, damaged, or otherwise mishandled by airline personnel in the good old US of A? 2 million. I won't repeat myself again, but that's still a lot. And while most of those suitcases and rollers are eventually reunited with their rightful owners, there's still over 20,000 pieces of luggage that go unclaimed each year. Not to mention bags left on buses, on trains, in taxis, or hotel rooms. Okay, last question. Where do you think all those lost luggage ends up? Most folks couldn't tell you, but when you're a kid growing up in northeastern Alabama, you know exactly where it goes. The Unclaimed Baggage Center. Around Scottsboro, we just call it unclaimed baggage. Every year, thousands of customers pass through our doors looking for deals on clothes, electronics, jewelry, and just about anything else you can imagine. Before any of that stuff reaches a sales floor though, it comes through us. I work in intake. When a truckload comes in, we're the first people to touch it. We unload the bags, log them, sort them, and decide what can actually be sold. Most bags are boring. Sure, you'll get the occasional wedding dress or taxidermy squirrel, but really it's just lots of clothes and chargers. I say most bags because some bags get flagged, and not because of drugs or weapons, but because they contain things no one can explain. Ask anybody in intake, they'll have a story. My girl, Tammy, found a passport from a country that doesn't exist, the Republic of Ver. Veer? It had a flag and everything. Cody swears on his mama that the same blue suitcase shows up every year around Christmas. Not the same model, the same suitcase. Same cracked handles, same missing wheel. Same 4-leaf clover sticker peeling off the side. Last year, it was full of ladies' wigs. Year before, empty picture frames. Cody's a nut, though he moved away after the thing with the postcards. My story? My story started with Flight 702. Well, it started with a suitcase actually. I didn't find out about the flight until later. It was July, humid, the kind of weather where your shirt's sticking to your back before you even finish your coffee. I was working the receiving dock when the truck backed into Bay 4. The driver, Trey, was a buddy from back in the day, and unfortunately, an Auburn fan. While we unloaded, I took the opportunity to remind him the Tigers didn't stand a chance against Alabama this year. Then I rolled the first pallet of suitcases inside. For each bag, the process was always the same. Assign a number lot, slap a sticker on the side, then line it up all nice and pretty like for the next guy. And that's what I was doing when I noticed the bag. It was a roller, seafoam green. Looked like a kid's bag, but I'd seen a million of those. What really caught my eye was the condition it was in. Like a pack of wolves that had just used it as their own personal piñata. Deep gouges ran all the way down one side and dark rust-colored stains coated the wheels. Now airlines damage luggage all the time. This wasn't that. I tried the zipper, it was crusted shut, so I grabbed the clutters from my workstation, busted a new seam, and pried the first bag open. At first, it all looked like standard issue kids fare. Books, pajamas, a stuffed unicorn, and a camera. A cheap-looking unicorn-themed digital camera, to be exact. I found the power button and turned it on. You may think I was being nosy, and that's fair. Back to the camera. The first image was of a young girl, smiling a gap-toothed smile straight into the lens. Couldn't have been more than 8. The next 3 were of nothing in particular. A shoe, a passing billboard, the roof of a car. The 6th picture was of an airport. The girl stood next to an old sedan filled with luggage, a unicorn backpack slung jauntily over one of her shoulders. A giant glass and concrete terminal loomed behind her. She looked almost impossibly happy. "Cheese," said a voice behind me. It was Brian, one of the new guys, striking a ridiculous pose for the camera. He had already earned a reputation around the store as a complete goof. I pantomimed snapping a picture of him, then looked at the screen. "Sorry," he says, "too ugly." "Haha," he said sarcastically before noticing the bag at my feet. "Oh shoot, did that thing go through a wood chipper?" I shrugged, "Tell me about it," and Brian headed outside for his own pallet. I turned my attention back to the pictures. The girl was inside the airport now. There was a shot of the ticket counter, the departure screens, and one of a grumpy TSA agent at security that made me chuckle. The next photo was of the entire family at their gate. Must have been taken by another passenger. The girl was smiling that same smile, while her parents wore the relieved expressions of folks who were ready to start their vacation. The screen behind them said, United 702, Orlando. I figured they were going to Disney World. That explained the girl's smile. The following pictures documented the family's journey down the jet bridge, past a blonde flight attendant with bright red lipstick, and to their seats at the rear of the plane. Wait a sec. I scrolled back to the picture of the gate. Flight 702? The number tugged at something in the back of my brain. I'd heard that before. Just then, Brian returned with a fresh load of luggage. Brian. Yeah? Flight 702 mean anything to you? Brian scratched his head. Pretty sure that was the Orlando flight. What Orlando flight? He looked at me. The one that crashed? Now, I've heard people say their blood ran cold, but I'm telling you, at that moment, my blood might have well as had ice cubes floating in it. Hey, you alright? Yeah, I stammered. Just need a little air. I couldn't get outside fast enough. 1,000 thoughts were running through my head all at once. As soon as I turned the corner of the loading dock, I pulled out my phone and did a search. The headlines came rushing back. United Flight 702 crashes near Nashville. NTSB. Investigating catastrophic engine failure. Children among 238 deceased in United crash. I felt like I was going to pass out. That little girl, her parents, all those people on that plane, they were all gone. Then another thought hit me. Something that really got my head spinning. What was their bag doing here? I found my supervisor Shelly in the break room, futzing with a coffee pot. Hey Shell. Go for Shell. Is there like a protocol or something for when we get bags from I trailed off, steadying myself against the counter. The heck you trying to say? From plane crashes, I spat out. For when we get bags from plane crashes. She stared at me like I'd spouted a second head. We don't. Never? Not in the 17 years I've been here. Her eyes narrowed. Why? I was just curious. Weird thing to be curious about. I forced a laugh and returned to the warehouse floor, convinced I'd been imagining things. Or I misread the flight number, or... The camera was still sitting on top of the bag, just where I had left it. I picked it up and navigated to the next image. But the next image wasn't an image at all. It was a video. I hit play. The camera was pointed out the window as a plane picked up speed and lifted off the runway. Whoa! It was a girl's voice. Hearing it made my heart sink. The camera swung around and settled on her parents in the seats beside her. Her dad winked and said, "Hold on to your butt." The girl laughed. The video ended. Before I knew it, I'd hit play on the next one. The girl was in the lavatory now. She waved at herself in the mirror, then focused in on the toilet. She pressed the flush button. The air whooshed, and she giggled, delighted. My hands were shaking. Watching the final moments of these people's lives play out on a 2-inch screen felt wrong. I wanted to warn them, like if I screamed, "Stop! Turn back!" at the top of my lungs, then maybe somehow they get the message. The next video picked up right where the last one left off. The girl pushed open the lavatory door. She was moving through the galley when a nasty sounding cough drew the camera's attention. It was the same blonde flight attendant with a red lipstick, sitting all hunched in her chair seat with a paper towel balled up in her fist. "Are you okay?" she asked the girl. "Yes, fine, just a little air sickness." The flight attendant managed a smile. "Do you like chocolate milk? Our drink service is starting soon." The girl must have nodded because the flight attendant smiled again and the video ended. More photos now. Clouds, the seatbelt, Hemispheres magazine. With each press of a button, I hoped I had reached the end, but the images just kept coming, and I couldn't look away. Another video. The girl's parents dozed in their seats. The cameras turned toward the front of the plane, showing rows of seatbelts and passengers' heads, and the blonde flight attendant working her way down the aisle with a drink cart. She stopped at the girls' row and fished out a carton of chocolate milk. "Just for you," she said. The camera zoomed in on the carton. Thanks." Then the girl tilted the camera back up, and that's when I saw it. A thin line of blood ran from the flight attendant's nostril and down to the corner of her mouth. She didn't seem to notice. "Your nose," the girl said. The flight attendant frowned. Then she touched her face. Her fingers came away red, and for a moment, she looked genuinely frightened. She grabbed a napkin from the cart, pressed it to her nose, and hurried back up the aisle, quick as anything. The heck? I replayed the last few seconds of the video. The blood, the look on the flight attendant's face, a real strange feeling started forming in the pit of my stomach. Then a Nerf ball hit me in my shoulder. "Blue 42!" It was Brian again. He was squatting over a duffel bag full of sports equipments. He threw another wobbler at me, and I swatted it away. "I hit you right in the hands. You gotta catch that." "Not now, man." He clocked the camera. "You still messing around with that thing?" "Yeah." "Finding out who it belongs to?" I hesitated. "Maybe." Brian smirked. Hope they ain't expecting it back. He didn't mean anything by it, but I could feel my face getting hot. Yeah, I muttered. As soon as he was gone, I pressed play on the next video. I wish I hadn't. The camera bobbled as the girl climbed over her parents and lowered herself into the aisle. Up ahead, the flight attendant disappeared into the galley, pulling the blue curtain shut behind her. The girl paused, probably gathering her nerve. Then she started creeping down the aisle towards the galley. All around her, the passengers were sitting, snug in their seats, eyes glued to their screens. The weird thing was, the flight attendant's feet were still visible beneath the curtain. They hadn't moved. The girl took another step, then another. Bong, the camera jumped. Then the captain's voice on the intercom. Folks, if you look out the left side of the aircraft, you'll be able to see Cumberland River winding through downtown Nashville. Our girl just kept moving. She was only 10 steps from the curtain, lens trained on the flight attendant's feet. A passenger stood to get something from the overhead bin, and the girl had to squeeze sideways to pass. When she refocused, the feet were gone. 5 steps now. 3. The girl's thin hand reached out and pulled the curtain aside. Ever so slowly. The area directly behind the curtain was empty. Just the lavatory door and another curtain leading to business class. The camera peeked around the corner into the gallery. The flight attendant's jump seat was empty. In fact, the entire galley was empty. The camera floated for a beat, like the girl was unsure of what to do. Then she must have seen something because she zoomed in on the floor of the galley. It was a pool of blood. Drip, drip, drip. The camera pulled back, searching for the source. The jump seat? No. The counter? No. With sheer dread, I watched as the camera tilted upwards toward the ceiling. The flight attendant was up there, pressed against the hull of the plane like a spider. Her face turned away from the lens, and for a second neither she or the girl moved. Then the flight attendant's head began to turn. Her eyes were black, completely black. And when those dark pits settled on the camera, I swear, she was looking at me. Blood pooled at the corners of her mouth. Drip. Things started happening really fast now. The picture whipped around and took off down the aisle, bouncing so violently I could barely make out the passengers, jerking upright in their seats. Then a sound. Oh my gosh, that sound. It was a cross between a woman's scream and metal being torn in half. The cabin's light flickered and bong. The captain's voice crackled over the intercom, speaking too fast for me to understand before dissolving into static. Then the whole cabin lurched hard to the left. The image rolled sideways, then snapped towards the ceiling. Oxygen masks dropped and dangled. Luggage ran into the aisle, and the flight attendant's pale form scuttled across the overhead compartments on all fours. Now everyone was screaming. The picture blurred, tumbled across the carpet, and came to rest just inches from the seafoam green roller bag. Then a window exploded, and the world turned white. The video ended, and I just stood there. All around me, the warehouse kept humming along like nothing happened. Eventually, I left work. Told Shelly I was getting a migraine. Truth was, it did feel like my head was gonna split open. I drove to Scooters in a daze. After my 5th beer, Carrie gave me a ride home and I fell asleep in front of the TV. The next morning, I was pretty sure I imagined the whole thing. Flight 702, the flight attendant, it felt impossible in the cold, hungover light of day. But I had seen it. Hadn't I? That's when I decided I needed to show someone the camera. I got to work early. Most of yesterday's luggage was still in the warehouse. Any items of value would have been cleaned, priced, and set in the staging area, waiting for the floor staff to arrive. I scanned the shelves for the camera. It wasn't there. I checked the salvage bins, nothing. I saw Shelly pulling into her spot and jogged over. You look like crap, she said as she cut the engine. Thanks, I deflected. Hey, did you happen to see a little unicorn camera that came in yesterday? Yeah, what about it? I let out a sigh of relief. Where is it? Some lady from the airline came by yesterday looking for it. She brushed past me. I struggled to keep up, panic rising in my throat. A lady? What lady? How should I know? Some blonde lady. Tell me you didn't give it to her. Shelly stopped walking. Why do you care? I opened my mouth, but no sound came out. Shelly stared at me. What do you expect me to do? She said it was hers, and the poor thing sounded awful, so... Awful? How? She couldn't stop coughing. Shelly started walking again, but I stayed rooted to my spot, unable to move. Weird thing was, she didn't care whether the camera worked. I looked up. She just wanted to know if anybody watched it. What'd you tell her? Shelly pulled open the warehouse door. Brian said you'd been looking through it, so... She shrugged. I told her you had. Oh my gosh. Like... No, that's genuinely crazy. Shelly. She sold him. She sold him out. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think. I did not expect that, though. I thought it was gonna be like some, like, parasite or, like, virus on the plane. It was crazy. Alright, next story. This one's also from r/no sleep, posted by the user Top Discipline 3273, and is titled, "My parents always have the same argument every night. My dad says I'm fine, but my mom insists that I'm dead." Hey, one of the lurkers here, trying to ask around the internet for some advice over a really bizarre scenario I'm facing. Things have gotten, let's say, out of control. Yesterday was another long night of non-stop arguing for my parents. I'm not exactly a kid, but I still live with them. I know some of you probably have to deal with situations like this too. It sucks, I know. But my case is different. There's something wrong with my mom. Every night she argues with my dad, but the topic is me. My mom is convinced that I'm dead. Like, not emotionally dead, not I did something wrong so you're dead to me dead. Physically dead. My father has started setting appointments with mental health professionals. Well, he was. I guess I'll explain that later. Maybe someone can help me out. I'm desperate. God. I guess I'll just start at the beginning. So I'm just an ordinary guy. Nothing much to say about me. Like I said, there was nothing I did wrong. It was just another average day. I was talking to my mom. We were having breakfast. Out of the blue, she just turned to me and said, "It's a shame what happened to you. You were so young. It's a shame that car hit you and you lost your life." Excuse me? I think I drooled some milk and cereal out of my mouth. I was pretty shocked. You see, my mom is, well, she's a proper lady. Old school, she's always kind, warm. She barely yells and she never cusses. But she also doesn't tell jokes, especially dark ones like that. So when she said that, I was completely floored. It was one of the most out of character things I've ever heard her say. I basically just ignored it as a weird joke and went on with my day. When I got home, she was arguing with my dad, well, about, you know what. The first couple of days were really weird. We couldn't tell if she was being serious or not. She would say I'm dead and my dad would just point at me and say something along the lines of, "That's not funny." After a bit, she'd stop, then continue again the next day. Things have escalated. She started arguing like a lot, coming up with comments that are largely nonsensical. I've heard stories of how I burned to death, drowned, electrocuted, hit by a car, shot and dropped in acid apparently. Me moving around and talking to her doesn't seem to faze her. She still persists. My day-to-day has become beyond bizarre. She asks me constantly what the afterlife is like. I tell her that nothing much has changed. What the heck else am I supposed to answer? I'm not dead. Right in front of her, doing the same thing as ever. I just largely ignore her at this point. I know what you're thinking. Well, your mom has gone insane. Yes, I know. I thought so too. But then something happened. One day, my grandma came to visit. I love my nan. She was just in the living room, minding her own business, eyes closed, hands clutched together. I passed her, not sure if she was asleep. She opened her eyes and I said hi to her. She just smiled and said she was praying. She's quite religious. She said she was praying for me. Cool, I guess. But then she turned to me and explained why. "I'm praying for you so that your soul can rest in peace." What? I think I froze in place for like a minute. I don't know how. I don't understand it. But my mom convinced my grandma that I'm dead. I couldn't believe it. There was a tiny chance my mom was joking. But my grandma? I should explain something though. My mom kind of rules, quote unquote, the family. She's kind, she's sweet, she's very convincing. She doesn't get the last say all the time, but when she wants something, people usually just go along with it. I have no clue how she managed to convince my grandmother, but it's clear that something is going on. I just don't understand it. This situation, like I said, escalated. The other day, I was taking a nap in my bed. I suddenly smelled smoke. It was so alarming that I jerked myself out of bed. The burnt smell was coming from me. My mom had taken a lighter to my clothes and tried to set me on fire. "Maybe you'll pass on if you get cremated," she said. The heck? She was smiling at me as she said that. This was the first instance of her trying to actually harm me. I keep my distance from her nowadays. After that incident though, I went to my dad. This was going too far. She needed help. Maybe my grandma was going senile, but my mom needed help. I talked to my dad, he just looked around awkwardly. I couldn't believe it. She managed to convince my dad. Like he's starting to accept the idea that I'm actually dead. I don't even know what's going on anymore. The family's breaking apart. Or it's uniting, I suppose. On the most bizarre and twisted idea I've ever heard of. Life isn't normal anymore. We went to the beach the other week. It was the last time I tried to do anything normal with my family. I fell asleep laying on my towel. When I woke up, I saw my mom above me. Smiling. She had buried half my body in the sand. I could barely move. I screamed and jolted awake. The sand felt coarse against my skin and heavy to move out of. But it was right before it felt like solid stone. that I squirmed free and got some distance from her. I think she was trying to bury me alive. I yelled so much at her. The whole beach was looking at us. Yelled about this sick joke, about this idea she had that I'm dead. I had enough of it. I don't think I've ever been so angry in my life before. She just looked at me silently, a small smile on her face. The dead shouldn't yell. But it doesn't even stop there. It's getting worse. She managed to convince people at my school, my friends, my teachers. No one pays attention to me anymore. When I raise my hand to answer a question, the teacher ignores me. One time, she even said, the dead can't ask questions. It's unreal. My friends pretend I'm not there. My family doesn't cook food for me anymore. I'm a stranger in my own house. A ghost wandering. The other day I saw her phone. She called me over. Look at this, Chris. I want to check. I'm very apprehensive about her nowadays. Our relationship is basically non-existent, and is going to stay that way until she gets medical help. It was coffins. She was looking at coffins. You look really nice in this one, she said. I can't really express it. The feeling of a loved one casually talking about your death, of intending it. It's not right. And everyone is starting to take her side. This ordeal is taking too much of a mental toll on me. I'm getting ready to leave town and go somewhere, anywhere. I need to get out of here. I'm writing this to ask if anyone has encountered anything similar. I know mentally well-and people exist, but to manage to convince basically my entire family and everyone around me, is this some kind of mass psychosis? If anyone has experienced this, please let me know. I'm packing my things to leave. I need a break. I need to get out first. I'll fix this later on. I have to leave before I do something drastic, something I'll regret. I'm not. Wait. Update. I was home alone, but my parents just got home. They came in a van. I don't really understand it. We don't own a van. What's going on? There's like 10 people with them. I don't know what the heck is going on. What the heck is this? They're all carrying shovels? Okay, this one. I don't even know where to start with this one. Like, honestly. It starts off like almost normal, right? Just the parents arguing, and then his mom casually drops that he quote unquote died, right? And she's not like an evil movie villain or anything. The story keeps on saying how proper and gentle she normally is, right? And this somehow makes it like so much worse. It's just a calm certainty, you know? And it doesn't stay with just her, right? It spreads to everyone near him. But imagine your mom tries to light you on fire so you can quote unquote pass on, right? And then burying you in the sand. If it was me, as soon as that lighting incident, moving out. 10 people pull up in a van with shovels. I'm just saying, he's cooked. Generally cooked. What do you guys think though? And that's a wrap. Drop a comment and let me know which story got you more. The unclaimed baggage one with the camera, or my parents think I'm dead. If this was your kind of thing, like and subscribe. It generally helps a ton. I've got more of these coming, and if tonight wasn't enough, I've got a playlist called The Archive with every one of these collected in one place. So if you want to keep going down the rabbit hole, that's where to find it. Anyways, thanks for hanging out with me tonight. See you next time. Peace, peace.